Fantastic. So I'm Sam Johnson. I helped Chloe organize the event. I am here actually to discuss activism and how you can be a better ally to people of color. I'm reading mostly so I don't forget anything. All right, so I would just like to start with saying that I have learned that activism is probably one of the coolest things to bond over. I feel like Chloe and I now have a mutual understanding and respect for each other. We both feel comfortable having those long, uncomfortable talks where she can educate me without any judgment. I have learned to acknowledge when I am wrong. That was loud. Sorry. I lost my place. When I'm wrong. And I actively seek out ways I can be better. Everybody should be actively seeking out ways they can be better. Yeah. Which is why I came tonight. Because I have a list of 10 things you can do to be a supporter of Black Lives Matter, to be a supporter of your neighbors, of the people who don't live near you, of the people who haven't died. So this right here, with everybody right here, is what I call step one. Step one is exactly like this. Most everybody here came to listen to the experience of the people of color behind me. We're here to be taught because this is not about us. This is about how they feel, listening to them and validating their thoughts and feelings. You might ask yourself, what more can you do to help? Well, I went online and I compiled a list of 10 things you can do to become a better ally. I tried to find sources by Black creators so that I could make sure I'm giving the correct information that is truthful and helpful. So number one, I already said, is listen. Listen without speaking over anyone. Listen to thoughts. Listen to ideas and experiences. Give marginalized groups a safe place to talk about what's going on and how we can come together to fix it. Number two is to get educated. Seek out books, articles, films about the history of current issues facing marginalized communities. This is not just Black lives. This is Black trans lives. This is Black gay lives. This is Black incarcerated lives. All Black lives matter. There are real seminars held by professionals where you can truly become more educated. They're called anti-oppression seminars. Look them up. Find one. If there's one in New Hampshire and you can go. Learn. Number three is to get involved. Obviously, we can see all of you are currently getting involved. We're so happy to have you here. And, the work on social media, telling people when they're wrong, and being respectful about it. We're here to educate people. We're not here to humiliate anybody. They might not understand why they're saying what they're saying is wrong. We have to teach before we attack. Because attacking only creates more hate. Number four is you can intervene when you see injustice, like what I just said. When someone is being targeted, physically or verbally, ask them, would you like my help? If they say no, you can only do what they consent to. Don't ever, help somebody unless they're asking for it, because you don't want to get in the wrong situation. Sorry. Not everybody's going to agree with us, but the best we can do is try. We have to speak up and speak out, actively denounce racism. It's not enough to be not racist. We have to be anti-racist. When a friend, a family member, a coworker, or even a stranger online says something hateful, racist, or ignorant, call them out on it. Number six is stop making it about you. This isn't about you. You don't need to comment on every situation with your own perspective or go out of your way to prove how smart and educated you are. Uplift others without speaking for them. Let others have the microphone for a change. Allow yourself time to absorb information before you speak on it. Number 7 is learning to deal with discomfort. This is something that a lot of people have a hard time with. To be the better person is not always fun. You don't get the same satisfaction as you would as getting somebody in trouble for something they said or something they did. but you will have done the right thing at the end of the day. We as white people can never truly know how people of color feel, but we can work through our own feelings and recognize that it's their turn to be heard, whether you like what they have to say or not. Number 8 is learn from your mistakes and change your behavior. We will make mistakes. When someone calls you out, don't get defensive. Listen, apologize, and change your behavior going forward. I couldn't find the person who said this quote. I looked it up like 4 times, and I couldn't come up with any names, but I could not agree with this quote more. It says, "We all have roles to play in ending racism and ending white supremacy. White people are viewed to be its primary defenders. That is what our role is supposed to be. Whether we are active advocates or whether we're complicit through silence or passivity, if we are not moving against white supremacy, we are moving with it. We are supporting it. So for us, we need to be figuring out how we're going to turn around the agenda that's being used currently to recruit millions of white people, making them feel like it's black versus white. It is not black versus white." Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. How do we move these white people in our lives, in our families, our workplaces, our friends, our schools, and place of worship? The question is, how are we going to get more and more people on board in an active way, committed for the long term? The answer is education. Number 9, second to last point on my list, is don't stop when things die down. Even when the work gets difficult, stay engaged. Oppression is constant, and marginalized people do not have the privilege to turn it off. They can't look away. It's their lives. It is their every day. They wake up in the morning and they don't know what's going to happen. Number 10, the most important one. If you can, please donate. If you can commit financially to support a local organization doing social justice work in your community, then you should. We're not asking you to give your whole salary. We're not asking for 10%. We're asking for what you can afford. If you can afford $1 a week to donate to a Black Lives Matter movement, donate that dollar. If you can afford $50 a week, they'll take that too. But if you only have $1, if you only have 50 cents, donate what you can, to who you can. Donate to multiple organizations too. Many groups do different things that all people of color can benefit from. Before I finish my long-winded speech, I wanted to acknowledge that this is just a small portion of the things you can do to support Black Lives Matter. I urge you all to go home tonight and do your research to learn more about how you can be supportive. There is something out there for everyone, and I also ask that if you're able to put a sign in your yard to support love and equality and justice for all, which is in our Pledge of Allegiance, do so. It's so simple. Paper is cheap, markers are cheap, you probably have them at home. Make up a little poster, cover it in tape if you don't want to go to Staples and have it laminated. Stick it in a rock in your front yard. Everybody can see it, everybody knows you support them. That is all.
Crop TV.